What's up, YouTube? If you guys want to know about the Typhon build and a little bit more detail that I can go into, and a few of the parts that are on it, how abouts, and this, that, and the other thing. So I'm going to be getting into that, and going to be going over a few things as far as clearances, tolerances, like what happens, you know, front end, spoilers, and made another run on it the other day. Have come up with an issue with the front differential, which you'll see, but I did manage to get out and make a better pass with it. I do have the perfect pass in it now, so after you guys check out this video, we'll get back to it. It's just a pass I made the other day. Now that I have the perfect pass on, I want to go over some data log as to what I was talking about on the crash video from the other day, as far as the difference between what I see in perfect pass and not running a perfect pass, and why I specifically wanted to run it in this car. So without further ado, check out this shot. Start, stop, read. Oh no. Oh crap, there it goes. All right, track, start. Motor check. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Nope, back to where you were. All right. This motor is the second motor that was in the Silver Bullet when I flipped it on the first 8S pass full out. So let's see what happens here. That sounded insane. That was a pretty good hit. All right, let's see what that did. Picking up on that car. My guess. Hopefully 130. That's what I was hoping for. But I think there's something going on with this motor. Stop. Read. 129. Oh, come on. You couldn't have given me 130. So yeah, this thing was just screaming. And, you know, as I stated in the video, it sounded absolutely awesome. But one thing I've learned about speed running, when you get a really, really cool vibrate, you know, screaming noise out of a car like it just did in the top end, most of the time there's a problem. And I went back out today and I did manage to hear it again, and this time it is way more noticeable, and you can actually hear the pitch change in it. And I have now, I think, done it into the point where I found the problem and narrowed it down to where the noise is coming from, and you could totally hear, you know, the issue that I'm talking about with the front diff. So something's wrong. All right, so here we go for data log, and try and give you guys a shot of what I was talking about. So the other day I went and hit 129 miles an hour. This is my 125 pass of the night run video, the first one, and which most of you probably have seen. Point you towards this amperage. So this amperage is 385 amps at 85.9% power out. Down to it. Check this out. This is the 129 pass, and this amperage is only 310. So on that note, if you see this line, this black line, it's always linear, always nice and smooth all the way up. And guess what? This is at 90% power out, and it only pulled 310 amps. So that is what I was talking about in the other video, in the crash video. So to give you guys a better idea, I'm going to put this mouse on 85% to show you, and this is with the same batteries. This is also, this pass with the perfect pass, I had fully charged China Hobby line 6600 megahertz batteries in it. So 85.8 is about as close as I'm going to get it. So these 6600 megahertz China Hobby lines, I was running these in both of these passes, so there was no difference in it was no difference in battery, was no difference in gearing. It was the same car, same setup, same batteries. The only difference was this 125 pass, the batteries had a few runs on them. There was some back and forth on them before that 125 pass, before I made that last one, like I stated in the video. On this one, there was one short pass of a car coming. Car came out at me in one direction, so I shut down, and then see how this goes. 1721 8S Typhon. And that's a car. Whew. Man. And then I made a second pass. It went 120, but I was pulling hard to the right. It is 10:30 at night. It's like 28 degrees out. Monday night. Glad I let out of that one. She was pulling hard to the right. Alright. Oh. See what we did this time. Come on, get over here. Picking up on that car. Stop. Read. 120. Third pass. This is a third pass on this set of batteries. Pulled a 129 at 90% power out. But as you guys can see here, here's 85%. 85%, and if I go over to amperage, 307 amps versus this 385, 85.9. And I took my mouse off, so now it's not going to show it, but you guys get the hint. I just showed you. So I'm not hiding anything. I don't have any reason to lie. I do this for fun. I do this because I love doing this. And also another thing is, I am going to go back to that because I want to point out one more thing real quick. Very hard to do. All right, 85.8. So 38,702 RPMs on this at 85% power out. 38,702. And on this one is 37,496. So there's no doubt Perfect Pass will definitely allow you to go further with anything you're doing. Perfect Pass is 100%. it's just an awesome invention. It really is. And this shows that it doesn't 100% control. I held it here. That's at 8.2. This, I bumped it up, went to 13.3, and then I bump it up again, and that number will stay flat as I move this cursor. So if I go back down, here's holding 8, trying to see, 13, holding, 14, holding, and then I kind of lean into it a little bit more, but I bore you no more with that. That is what I was trying to get to. So anyway, back to the car. So a few guys asked me about the center plate. It does hold on. I have a screw in it and some double-sided tape on it underneath to hold it down. It does bolt to in here. I do have a spacer, as you guys seen in the build video. There is a little 3mm piece of carbon fiber spacer to lift this up, because to keep it in line with the center. Now, I spoke to one person, I'm drawing a blank. To run this plate, you have to buy one of these Hot Racing center diff covers. So what you need is the center bolts that go and hold the spool bearings in place, the retainers. And basically this plate obviously gets replaced with the carbon fiber, so you basically make your screw holes through into your retainers, and there you go. So an issue with having the speed controller like this is, one, so it is underneath of it. It is not touching the top of that servo, but you are in very, very close quarters as far as where that's going to sit. And also, so it's definitely going to touch on these, you know, wires here. If I tried to bring this motor in anymore, my only option is to bring this motor out. So I'm limited. I can't run any less gearing. I would only have one option, is to move out, because of how this sits. So that is center of the speed controller, but you also have to watch your spacing over here with your steering. Now in speed running, you don't run a lot of steering. You still have, I mean, even at this, you can see how far that's turned. It's still nowhere near the speed controller, but you have to allow your wiggle room. So like I said about the motor, it is a tight fit, but that's a 1721, and you could clock the motor. You could turn the can, the end cap on the can, and probably clock these down. However, I did not do that, because if I run fans, I want to be able to put them here on the side, because I won't be able to run them, you know, from the top. Yeah, guys, basically this is an Arma Infraction front end, the same as on Arma Limitless. The spoiler, this whole front setup, that's Fred. This is Fred. If you ever hear me talk about Fred, this is Fred. I call him Fred. He's my light. He's my night light. I love him. And another person asked me about the lights I was running. These are just they were some drone lights that I got off of Amazon. I bought two the first time. Only one worked. And I ordered more and got two more in. Only one worked. So they're kind of hokey. They don't hold the charge very well. They don't last very long. It's kind of you know, very, very quick ordeal. Turn them on, run the car, and be done. But anyway, a few things about running the Arma Limitless front plate. This plate here, the first one that I took off of the Silver Bullet when I was running this, you can see there's some scrapes. It does kind of scrape a little bit if you're, you know, on the brakes. This section here, I cut this out of the last one, and you can see how much I cut out of it. So that is how much I cut out of the first one, which allows this hump not to be here. So this doesn't hang down as far. It brings it up to here, and it just brings it almost pretty much level. The ears, these you could drill holes through the chassis if you preferred to. However, it's so much pressure pulling down on it that I just hooked them in there and just let them sit on top. But this is all the Arma Limitless stuff. The only thing you have to do is get rid of the really cool aluminum hinge pin holders in the front. You do not have to change the fancy little aluminum ones, pin holders, on the TLRs. The TLRs do work, but what you have to do is add this piece in to hold the front support. That is the diff. The pinion bearing basically just wore right into it. Left a whole bunch of nasty plastic on the chassis, nasty plastic in the cover, all kinds of plastic inside there, and that is what is left of the front pinion bearing. Love it. Yeah, so the back is still good. Here, not really any wobble there. That's tight, but for some reason they wasted the front one. So anyway, back to the video. Back under here, in order to make it all work, because the Typhon stuff will not work. Because of the way they have their mounts, you can adjust all the adjustments as far as the front control arms, and it's just not going to work. So I just turned it over to a limitless, and basically that's what it is. To take all this apart, the only thing you have to do is, the way I did it was, I took, this is the stock receiver box, obviously you see in the video. I was going to use one of the bolt holes from the diff, but I wound up just drilling a hole into this plate and just putting a nut and a bolt through it and holding that there. So I do have to take that off, which is one bolt, and then you can access these 4 screws without taking the speed controller off, and you can pop this off and then get to the rest of the plate. However, I do have these braces back here that bolt to this plate, so which is holding my GPS, which is not going to come out of this car, as you can see. I have these just to brace the rear end of the car instead of the center stock brace. So I would have to unbolt these, and the 4 screws are accessible after you take the receiver box off. And then the speed controller, you could keep that on there, undo your motor wires and unbolt it, which there are 2 nuts underneath the bottom of this. You take the motor out, and then you can access the 2 nuts that are holding the bottom plate, or holding this onto this plate, and then you can remove the center plate. So it is kind of, you know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's not very easy, but it is. It's fairly simple. The receiver box is light. It can stay with the, you know, with the speed controller, or just disconnect the speed controller. Obviously the steering circle wire goes into the receiver box, so that's going to kind of stay with this. So you might want to be able to access like this and be able to pull the receiver wire just so this can stay with the car. This can go with the plate, and then once you do that, it's basically separate. You know, you could take the plate away, and obviously once you do it enough, you could do it. You know, it's easy. But anyway, not to bore you anymore, that's the setup, and hopefully I conquered all the questions and helped anybody out who's trying to build a short wheelbase. And I actually was even running the Silver Bullet tires on this one, being that I was a tire short on the other foams. So I think these are pretty much done now, as you guys can see. These have chunks all over them. This back one has a huge chunk in it. This rim is actually cracked from crashing the Silver Bullet. But anyway, yeah, hopefully I answered all the questions. Like, comment, subscribe. That's my Typhon, and hopefully it helps some people out and getting into a direction. Obviously all the stuff, you just search it, you can buy it other than the center plate. And yeah, basically build a short wheelbase on the limits. Basically what it comes down to. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.